What is going on, guys? This is Daniel, and the Lakers have taken a commanding 3-1 series lead over the Rockets, and today I want to talk about the Lakers offense, because it was a big question mark coming into this series, but they've had a 115 offensive rating in their 4 games versus the Rockets, which is above average for the playoffs, and the main reason they're scoring effectively against the quality defense is that LeBron and AD have been fantastic. But in this video, let's cover a few other areas where their offense has stood out. Let's get to it. Maybe the biggest adjustment the coaching staff has made has simply been to play their centers less, and on offense, it's really helped with their spacing. So here for instance, the Lakers run a pick and roll with LeBron and AD diving to the rim, but with JaVale McGee in the dunker spot, that allows Harden to guard both Davis and McGee at the same time. This discourages the lob to Davis and helps muck up the pick and roll, and then later on the possession, when Tucker fronts Davis in the post, Harden is in good help position because McGee is near the paint, and the spacing killed this possession. Their 2 true centers are McGee and Dwight Howard, and we see here, as the series has gone on, their minutes has dropped off. And that's led to plays like this, where here they run the same LeBron AD pick and roll, and Harden tags, but this time he's guarding Kuzma in the corner, and that's a more dangerous risk to help inside. And while the other Laker bigs aren't 3-point shooting specialists, they can hit an open 3, and here AD spaces to the corner. And here with Markieff Morris at the 5, they get into a beautiful drive and kick sequence. It also creates more space for LeBron to duck inside and seal his man for an over-the-top pass. And here's a nice sideline out of bounds play where Caruso will set a back screen for LeBron, and it's designed for LeBron to then seal Gordon inside as Morris spreads the floor as a spacer. This series, the numbers show that the Lakers score better with McGee and Howard off the court, and the added spacing just shows up in so many different areas, whether it be against post fronts, or here when LeBron has it in semi-transition, there's 4 shooters spreading the court, allowing him to barrel towards the rim. Compare that to this play, where LeBron has it in transition, but Howard's rim run gets in the way because now it's too crowded inside. Now, one reason playing small could have backfired is because both McGee and Howard are good offensive rebounders, and it's important to punish a small Houston team on the offensive glass. But for the series, the Lakers have rebounded 28.5% of their own misses, which would rank 2nd in the postseason, and even with the 2 centers off the court, they're effectively grabbing offensive rebounds, and Davis has been dominant. But it's not just Davis, their wings are looking to crash, and here Kuzma gets one, and Danny Green has 9 offensive rebounds in the last 3 games, and he's a very clever player with a natural nose for the ball. And the Rockets haven't always been super sharp on their box outs. So playing smaller has helped their offense, and versus the Rockets, it's also helped their defense, because the Rockets play 5 out, and it's tough for McGee and Howard to keep up. And especially when the Lakers trap, it's important for all 5 defenders to be mobile. And here that's your center Morris making a long rotation to Westbrook and then keeping him in front. Much better suited than McGee and Howard to defend on the perimeter. Moving on, and one thing the Rockets have liked to do in these playoffs is load over heavily to the ball and get into gaps. And here we see Daniel House is in the gap 1 pass away off of Schroeder, and the Rockets do this to take away driving lanes. And so I thought the Lakers offense did a really nice job of countering the gap defense, especially on LeBron ISOs, and one thing they did well was get wide. So here LeBron has it, and Green makes the simple play by giving LeBron space and getting wide. And it's okay if the 3 off-ball players are a bit bunched up before the drive, as long as the players 1 pass away from LeBron give him plenty of space to operate. So then, if a defender does help in the gap, LeBron can kick it out for an open 3. Here, as Caruso runs a pick and roll, notice how Kuzma gets wide, giving plenty of space between him and the ball. This makes it less likely for Westbrook to help in the gap, and it's okay that Rondo and KCP are a bit bunched up, because as Caruso drives, notice how KCP sets a pin-in screen for Rondo in the corner, and this is a much better play than KCP just standing right next to Rondo. That's good basketball. They're also good at creating space with cuts, and I think a cut like this is super underrated. So here, Westbrook is in the gap at the elbow, and Kuzma sees this, so he'll cut through, and what he's doing here is loosening up the defense. So now, there's only one player on that right side with LeBron, and this creates more space and forces Westbrook to get off the elbow. And now LeBron has room to drive. Here's the same cut in transition. LeBron leads the break, but he faces a wall of 3 defenders, but Kuzma's cut removes 1 defender from the wall, and that also helps LeBron is superhuman. Here Morris executes the cut, and he's not necessarily looking to score, but just to create space. Compare that to this, where here LeBron has it, and Westbrook gets all the way over to the nail off of Dion Waiters, and you'd like to see Waiters either cut or get wide, but we see he doesn't really move much at all, and this allows Westbrook to sit at the nail without much consequence. And also with Houston, their man defense often look like a zone at times, so here AD cuts, and whether out of laziness or just to maintain his gap position, Harden doesn't follow AD, which does allow Davis to catch the pass and break down the defense. This was a super interesting play. So first off, we see Caruso cut and Westbrook follows him, proving the Rockets are in man defense, and then later on the possession, because of all the attention LeBron draws, Covington just sits in that gap and he allows Morris to cut through. And the communication was not good here, as now the Lakers have a 2-on-1 on the weak side, and most good passers would throw this skip to the corner. But LeBron manipulates defenses, so watch what he does. He takes a dribble to his left, stares at Kuzma in the corner, and this gets Green to lean in that direction, and LeBron throws a no-look pass to Caruso. And I also like what Caruso did here. First, he sets a pin-in screen, and then he could relocate up to the wing, but the spacing between him and LeBron wouldn't be very good. So instead, he relocates low to the dunker spot, and sometimes getting to the dunker is the best way to provide gap spacing. And the last thing I want to talk about is Kyle Kuzma moving off ball. Next to Alex Caruso, he's the best cutter on the team, and he was super impressive these first 4 games. And the main thing about him is he always stays active. Here, Rondo falls, and while Westbrook stands up straight, Kuzma relocates to find open space and gets an open jumper out of it. It also helps he's 6'8" without shoes, so when he makes an active cut to the basket, he has the size to finish inside. And he's also just a really smart and instinctive cutter, and the great example of that is how he executes the slot cut. So here Rondo drives baseline, and notice how he's already cutting to the rim from the slot, and it's unclear whether he'll be open or not, but he knows the predetermined rotation. His man Harden is filling to the corner to cover the corner shooter, and when that happens, there's a gap for him to catch the pass. This slot cut is usually open on baseline drives. This is a great play here, another Rondo drive and another slot cut from Kuzma, and while he doesn't get it here, the cut has the power to suck in defenders and free up shooters on the perimeter. Cuts aren't just to score. And here's an example where the slot cut should have been used, so Waiters drives baseline, and we see the Rockets are in their help rotations, but Caruso, who's a good cutter, doesn't execute the slot cut, and he probably would have had a layup here. Whoa, there you have it guys. I hope you learned about the Lakers offense and some general basketball concepts. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.